Yo, good morning, my beautiful people. This is your coach, Coach Renz, and today I want to talk about, and I want to get straight to it, three major issues that are facing the African American conscious community. Some of these challenges are facing the conscious community as a whole, but specifically these three are very powerful right now in the African American conscious community, mainly because of some of the information that has come before and how things are now. And when I say things come before, when you had black people in America who left Christianity, who left Judaism or Catholicism, those who have, and then they joined like either the Hebrew Israelites, or they joined the Nation of Islam, they became Muslim. They transfer from one religion to another, but now we are in a consciousness that is shifting because of the age of Aquarius, and what I'm going to say as a true consciousness, because those organizations are infected, I'm going to say infected, by these three major issues. And until they start recognizing that they have this issue, then it will be a battle within the African American community, because many who are coming into consciousness now will not gravitate towards those organizations and will actually find issues and conflict. One of the reasons why I'm making this video is because I was listening to a young black man who was talking about African American consciousness and some of the things that are going on, but there were comments by other people that made me realize that there is a problem. Well, made me want to speak on the fact that there is a problem. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to cover what some of those comments were as I go through these three issues. But let's first establish conscience, because one of the huge mistakes that I saw in the video is the fact that the gentleman was trying to do the etymology of the word conscious, and he was using the term etymology, but I will say that he needs to go back. And I hate that, because I hate when people come to me and say, well, you need to study more. But when I'm wrong, and if I am wrong, I don't mind going back to study if there is proof of me being wrong, like facts. And that is the idea of conscious. Conscious is, the word con means with, right? Means with, like container, okay? Con, like if you go to Spain and you say, I want some cafe con leche. Con, the root word meaning with. Science, conscience, science, and so science means facts, provable facts. So, or knowledge, provable knowledge. Conscience is knowledge. So the thing about it is, the gentleman took the word con into what we call cons today, like I'm going to con you, like deceit, trickery. Not looking at the root of the word conscience or conscious or consciousness, but taking it in the word and how we look at it today in the word con, which is not the root of that con, which then led him into this whole other world. And then the problem is that there were people in the comments who were falling for this. They're not going back doing their own research. I always tell you guys, don't just listen to me. Go back and do your own research as well. If I give the improper definition of something or improper historical events of something, challenge it. Challenge it. I don't mind the challenge, because I don't mind being wrong, right? And that's one of the things that, we have to recognize, that sometimes you're wrong. Your information may not be correct. It may need to be updated, but to claim the etymology of a word but then do it completely wrong, it made the entire argument. It messed up his entire argument. He had some good points, but the argument was messed up because he looked at that word incorrectly. So understand, consciousness or conscience means with science. So your understanding is backed up by truth and facts, not just by your thoughts or what you just want things to be. But here's the three major issues we have, and I'm sorry it took me 4 minutes to get there, but three major issues we have in the conscious community, especially African Americans, and that is that there is a lack of infiltration, and especially subtle infiltration. So you have to understand that the world is not going to just shift on a dime. That we have to, and the world is not going to shift because you're being nice and kind and sitting back and waiting. That you have to infiltrate areas of government, that areas of business, and areas of education. If we don't infiltrate those organizations, those places, then change is not going to happen. People are not going to wake up. And it has to be subtle. You can't go in like a bull in a china shop. That's not going to work. The moment you come charging in like that, you will find more resistance to the changes. Look at how subtle meditation has entered the school systems, like in Canada, where children are meditating. In Detroit, children are learning to meditate. It has come in a subtle way to say that it is decreasing behavioral problems and increasing the ability for children to focus. So you have to infiltrate subtly. The Christian era didn't begin with a hardcore push of Christianity. It was subtle. They came in and they grew and they grew and they grew. One of their biggest champions and one of their first apologists was Justin Martyr. And Justin Martyr, first he learned Stoic. He became a Stoic. Then he went to Pythagorean schools. Then, he was looking. And because people didn't want to teach him the way he wanted to learn, he finally ran into some old dude who taught him Christianity. And then he began to make changes in the world. He set up his own school, started to make changes in the Roman world as far as Christianity is concerned. And although I am not a fan of Justin Martyr, because Justin Martyr wrote some of the most damning things that has now flourished in Christianity, such as the idea that he was one of the bigger proponents of the anti-Semitism, that the Jews killed Jesus, the character Jesus, and not the Romans, that the Romans had no blame in it. And that's Justin Martyr is like the godfather of that for the Catholic Church, which then later led to your Holocaust and other anti-Semitic tragedies that occurred, that also led to the demeaning of other races of people. Even though, yes, you can find a quote where he said, now we live amongst our enemies and that we're all one people for those that we used to hate, but he still wrote and did things that push the church doctrine to hate other people, to look at people as a subset. That was part of the outgrowth of Justin Martyr. And then another part of the outgrowth of Justin Martyr is just the blind obedience of ignorance. Justin Martyr is the person, he said that people like Socrates and Plato, that they were unknowingly Christian. These men, he began that idea of grafting popular historic figures and philosophies into Christianity. He blatantly said that you should worship Jesus and all that kind of stuff is no different than what you did for Jupiter, that it's the same story. But yet he later comes out and says that the reason why you have Horus and Krishna and Dionysus and Mithras and all these people who have the same story, that Yeshua has the same story as them, because they don't have the same story as him because they came first, is that it's because the devil came and perpetrated those roles just to confuse you. But if the devil was chained up in hell on earth, then that's, you see what I'm saying? It's a whole nother story. But people blindly just followed that because it worked. It justified them being able to just go along with the plan. But my point is that Justin Martyr he built his school, and then out of his school he had debates and wrote letters and tried to influence the emperors of Antonius and Marcus Aurelius until he pushed a little too far and he got his head cut off, which is why people say if you die for your cause, you've been martyred. But we must infiltrate these different places of education and government and business so that consciousness can spread through the realms of government and education and business, and people start to get it slowly. Because as much as people say they want change, they want slow change on their own terms. So we can't be like a bull in a china shop. The number 2 big issue is the level of argumentativeness. I don't even know if that's a real word. Now, see, that's one thing about me. If I don't know if it's a real word, but it sounded good coming out my mouth, I'll still tell you I don't know if it's a real word. But the level of argument that the conscious community have, especially in the black community, bull in the china shop. Once again, another black man will approach another black man and talk about how much he's in slavery, how much he's in mental slave, will argue, yell, and fuss at him, will come at him very aggressively. You cannot come at people with that level of aggression. You can't come. There was a video I saw recently where a man just, I think he's a Hebrew Israelite, not sure, but he just goes into a church and just start yelling and screaming and trying to tell the people that they're wrong and that these teaching false this and false that. So of course the guy who's the minister of that is going to call him a devil and all this kind of stuff, and no one's listening. No one's listening. When you come, you can't. It's like when people come into my business and they think that they can tell me how to run it, but they come at me like, oh, well, you're doing this and you're not doing that, and this is wrong and that's wrong. Well, the only reason your business is not working as well because I didn't know. Well, your marketing is not good because I didn't know. As if you are the one person that would have made the difference. No, you when you come at somebody that way, when you come at somebody argumentatively, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. You're just going to push them away. So we can't come to one another with this state of calling them slaves and calling them mentally slaved and calling them, servants of the white master and that sort of thing. If you come in that format, then they will not listen. All right. And here's the thing. You have to meet people where they are. I don't subscribe to the Bible as the unerred word of God, but I do subscribe to the Bible as a book of wisdom. And there is wisdom there. And the best way to be able to get people to understand is to teach them through their path of wisdom. So you meet people where they are. Okay? That's some of the lessons of the life of the parable of Yeshua is the fact that in the parable, he met people where they are. He didn't say, hey, I'm standing on this hilltop, so all you fishermen come up to me. All you prostitutes come up to me. All you vagabonds and people come up to me. He met them where they were. He didn't stand on the hilltop and tell the Pharisees and Sadducees to come to him. No, he went and met Nicodemus and them at their place. And he talked to them at their level. So you have to go and talk to people at their level. If you're of the conscious community, talk to people at their level, where they are. Find their pain, their pain points. Find their pain points and talk to them from their pain points. If they're not manifesting in their life what they desire to manifest, show them how it can be manifested, but with a conscious state instead of a blind obedience state. Teach them that. Utilize their own stories. But even in yourself, utilize the stories that are there. The fact that Yeshua went and as the parable goes, he cast out these demons out of legion, cast out a legion of demons and into the swine, they jumped into the water. But look at the deeper aspect of that story. He cast them out, told to do what he said, tried to get the people to understand, but the people were just like, look, dude, we don't want to hear about all that. And he just left. If they don't want to hear it, just leave. If they see you are moving in a way that they actually desire, but they just can't get themselves there, leave. When Yeshua went back home to his home city and the people wouldn't accept him, he just left. Every book of wisdom tells you that the prophet will not be welcome in his own home. Even though I post them, these videos go on YouTube. And yes, my YouTube family, we just ride. We're good. My Facebook family, people who have known me, a lot of the people who have known me since we was growing up or they knew me in the Marine Corps, depending upon when they knew me and how they knew me, many cannot accept me. They can't accept what I say because I didn't speak out to most of them about what I'm talking about today. There was no Facebook and YouTube back when I first started walking away from the traditional. When I first started waking up, there was none of that. So very few people knew this aspect of me when I was 15, 16, 20 years old. So they can't accept it. Most of them can't. Some of them are gradually accepting it. Some of them are gradually moving forward. Even when I talk to my family members, they accept. I talk to them on certain levels and they accept those levels. But I know not to push some of them too far, not to give them too much, because it would just push them away and put a big valley between the two of us, between us. So you got to meet them where they are. Stop busting up in the churches trying to tell them that they're wrong, because they're not walking away from that just because you ran up in there. And when you end your video with all your little feel-good statements to make you feel better, because they see they don't want to listen, they ignorant, all you're doing is just playing to your own vanity and ego at that point. Your own vanities and ego. Now, is that a conscious person? If you're conscious, then you recognize the power of the ego and vanity, and how that is more something that tears you down instead of building you up. it tears other people down instead of building them up. You have to take the stance of building up people and not building up yourself. Now the last one and the third one, and this is the biggest one. This is the biggest one for the African American community. And I really want you guys to lean in close and hear this. I need you to come here and hear me. You cannot call yourself conscious if you're racist. Black people can be racist, so do not think that you cannot be. But if you calling yourself conscious, but saying that the white people are the devil, that white people are evil, that white people are beneath you, that white people have stolen everything, that white people and as a whole have done every evil thing on the planet, you are, sir or ma'am, a racist. And a conscious person is not racist. You see, as I said in the beginning, consciousness is being with the truth. Truth of the matter is, there have been evil black people and evil white people. There are good black people and good black people. There are smart white people. There are smart black people. There's dumb as brick black people. There are dumb as brick white people. There are white criminals. There are black criminals. There are white countries and governments that are evil. There are black countries and governments that are evil. There were black countries and governments that were evil long before they were involved with white people in colonization. There are evil white governments that were there long before black people got involved with them in their tribes or countries. It goes both ways. Humans have found ways to separate themselves and kill one another for whatever stupid reason that they can find. There are black people who created gods out that God, the God sat on top of Kilimanjaro, and if you don't do this and we don't sacrifice and you don't walk this way, you don't do that, who have created BS religions out of looking at nature in the black community and the white community, who have created black gods and white gods. We have all created them throughout history, but you cannot. So a conscious person looks at what is truth and not what is truth based on my color of skin or based on my current state of oppression or being oppressed. So you cannot be conscious and be racist, because a conscious person recognizes that we are spiritual beings, not physical beings. I'm not this melanin. Melanin does not make me. It does not determine my character. It does not determine the type of person, the type of energy that I will give out and that I am. It only is a covering. As one of my friends like to say, it's just a meat suit. It's just a meat suit. Or as the Gospel Thomas say, it's just the poverty. It's the poverty that my spirit dwells in. But if you're conscious, you don't live by the poverty. You live by the gold thing, the pure thing, and that is the spirit. And the spirit is not based on color. Sorry. Did other governments and groups and organizations plagiarize from what they learned from being around other people? Yes, but those people weren't all good. They weren't all great. Egyptians did some negative things too. Europeans did some negative things. Asians did some negative things. Everybody has done negative things, but everybody has also done positive things. Everyone's group has also increased humanity, done wonderful things to benefit humanity. So to be racist and to be conscious is an oxymoron. They don't work together. So please, Hotep, please, my Islamic brother, stop trying to say that I am a slave to the white man, and the white man is the devil, and the white man has nothing but trickery for me, and that if I involve myself with them, then I am a traitor to the race. You, sir or ma'am, are a traitor to the race, the human race. You are perpetuating the same thing that the evil government that you claim to be against is doing. Does the government want to pit man against man, group against group, north against south, east against west, black against white, Asian against Spanish? Of course they do. Rich against poor? You know they want you to continue to fight that and feel like you're a victim, so that you have to lean on that government to have your salvation. This is the same thing each and every religion says, is that you need to lean on whoever are the rulers of your religion so that we can give you your salvation. And because those other ones who are warring against you, they're the devil, they're demons. I even saw a guy in a relationship group, and I thought that it was indicative of this whole situation, that they were asking in the group, could you date someone outside of your religion, or how important is your religion to whom you date? And people had it's a 10, it's a 0, and they had their reasons, and it's fine. It's fine. If you're a Christian and you say you need to be with a Christian, be with a Christian. If you're Muslim, you need to be with a Muslim, be with a Muslim. That's fine. But one of the comments that one gentleman said was that it's a 10 and she has to be a Christian because I'm not kissing no devils. It's fine that she has to be a Christian. But the fact that anybody else is a devil, what would you say? You know what? I'm not even going to. Ooh, that thing had got all over me that day. And I just have to release it, because in the same vein, if somebody said that I'm not kissing a black man because he's a devil, he would have been offended. He would have been offended. Now, a person can say I'm not kissing a black man because I just don't like black men, that I'm not attracted to them. That's fine. If you're not attracted to a black man simply because it does not attract you, that's fine. If you're not attracted to a white woman because you don't find them attractive, that's fine. But to call them a devil, to call them a name simply because of what they believe or what they look like, that is not consciousness. That is of the negative side. That is of the negative side of the universe, of the all creating force. That is negative. And how can a conscious person hold on to a negativity like that? So I can beat this point down forever and a day. But those are the three things. We have to subtly infiltrate every aspect of learning and understanding and control and power if we truly want this age of Aquarius to manifest itself. Just like the Christian church knew that they had to court the emperor, had to court Constantine. I mean, Justin Martyr was courting, and every other, Irenaeus and Eusebius, they were all, Eusebius wasn't courting, but Eusebius later on, who was friends with Constantine, but that's a different story. They all courted those in power and infiltrated. So we have to infiltrate. All of us, age of Aquarius, have to infiltrate these different processes of learning and understanding and power. Business and government and education. Also, stop being so daggone argumentative. If somebody doesn't agree with my video, some people, like, they come here, some of the trolls come on here and they want to argue, and keep arguing, keep fussing. At some point, I will stop. I will not comment anymore, because we've gotten to, I recognize that all they want to do is argue. All they want to do is find some method of argument, and I will stop. And for the racist, I just have no tolerance for racism, point blank, period. So this has been your coach. Free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable.